my lord.
Guys, in today's video, you'll see a fusion that will distort time and space. Beerus and Champa are ready to overcome all powers, but will it work? Well, let's see that now. But before we start, leave your like and also subscribe to the channel. Have you done this yet? So let's get started. On Beerus's planet, the sky was tinged with shades of purple and orange, reflecting the light of a distant sun. Beerus sat on a tree trunk, his eyes half closed, while Whis, as always, stood beside him, elegantly holding his staff. The silence was almost absolute until Whis decided to break it. Whis spoke. "Mr. Beerus, do you remember that fight between Vegeta and Goku against Broly? The one where Goku had to resort to fusion to become Gogeta and defeat the legendary Saiyan?" Beerus replied, I remember. What's so special about that? Mortals fighting as always. Nothing I haven't seen before." Whis said, But it was different this time, Mr. Beerus. I confess that it was the first time I was genuinely excited watching a fight between mortals. Gogeta was at an impressive level, almost divine, I would say. He could have eliminated Broly with that final Kamehameha, but at the last moment, Broly was saved. It was an exciting fight, to say the least. Beerus replied, "Excited? You, Whis, the most calm and controlled angel in the universe, got excited about a fight between mortals. That's new." Whis said, "Yes, Mr. Beerus, the intensity, the technique, the power, everything was at a level that even I, who have seen countless battles throughout the ages, was impressed by. Gogeta truly showed that mortals can reach unimaginable heights." Beerus replied, You're exaggerating. Mortals are mortals no matter how strong they become. They can never compare to a god of destruction." Whis said, "Maybe, Beerus, but you can't deny that Gogeta was at a level that even you would have to take seriously. And frankly, I think he could defeat a god of destruction before you got nervous. I'm not talking about you, but any other god. After all, if Gogeta activated Ultra Instinct, it would be magnificent. I got excited just thinking about it." Beerus replied, "Are you saying that Gogeta could defeat me? Ridiculous. Stop talking nonsense, Whis. Did you wake up crazy today? I'm the most powerful god in all 12 universes. Don't make me laugh. Maybe you need to see me fight for real to feel true joy." Whis said, But Lord Beerus, you seem to be a little bothered by this. Are you jealous? I didn't want to make you feel bad. You are without a doubt the best fighter I know. Are you happy now with my praise? But remembering Gogeta's fight made me excited, that's all." Beerus replied, "Envy? Me? The god of destruction, jealous of mortals? Whis, shouldn't you shut up?" Whis said, "Alright, but I can't help but notice that you seem a little disturbed by the idea that mortals could achieve such impressive power." Beerus replied, You're talking nonsense. Mortals can never compare to me. But if you think that fight was so impressive, then I'll show you something that will excite you much more than that." Whis said, "Oh, and what would that be, Lord Beerus?" Beerus replied, "I'm going to fuse too." Whis said, "A fusion? With who, Lord Beerus? There aren't many gods out there who could fuse with you." Beerus said, "With my brother, of course, Champa." Whis said, "Champa? Your twin brother, the god of destruction of Universe 6. That would be interesting to say the least." Beerus said, "Yes, Champa. Together we would be more than Gogeta could ever dream of being. And I'm going to prove to you that a fusion between gods is something that will excite you much more than any fight between mortals." We said, "Well, Mr. Beerus, I admit I'm curious. A fusion between two gods of destruction would be unprecedented. But do you really think Champa would agree to it?" Beerus replied, "Champa won't have a choice. He's always wanted to prove himself better than me, and this is the perfect chance for him to show off his power to a certain someone. Besides, he never resists an opportunity to show off his power." We said, "Well, Mr. Beerus, if you're serious, then I'm looking forward to seeing it. A fusion between you and Champa would be something truly epic." Beerus replied, "Then get ready, Whis, because I'm going to show you what true power means." Whis said, "I'm looking forward to it, Mr. Beerus. But if I may ask, how do you plan on performing this fusion? The fusion technique that Goku and Vegeta used requires precise movements and perfect synchronization. I doubt you and Champa have practiced anything like that." Beerus replied, Details. We are gods, Whis. We don't need mortal techniques to fuse. We're going to create our own fusion, far more powerful than anything Gogeta can do." Whis said, "Well, Mr. Beerus, I don't doubt your ability, but I think you may be underestimating the complexity of a fusion. But how about you put your pride aside? I can help you because creating a technique to fuse with Champa will take a lot of time." Beerus replied, "Okay, you'll help, Whis, because I want you to see it up close, and when Champa and I fuse, you'll understand what true power means." Whis said, "I'm looking forward to it, Mr. Beerus, but for now, maybe you should contact Champa and see if he's willing to participate in this experiment." Beerus replied, "Oh, he'll participate, Whis. He has no choice. Now get ready because this is going to be epic." Whis said, Beerus, I've never been so excited, so let's go to Universe 6. Beerus replied, hey Whis, before we go, can you tell me how you know how to do the fusion dance? Do you really know how to use this technique? Whis said, of course I know, Mr. Beerus. After all, I'm an angel. I only need to see the movements once to be able to copy them perfectly. So I'll teach you properly, okay? Beerus replied, good, then there's no time to waste. Let's go to Universe 6. Champa won't like being disturbed, but he won't have a choice. Whis said, as you wish, Mr. Beerus, let's go then. Whis twirled his staff, and in an instant, the cube appeared beneath his feet. Beerus stepped onto the cube, and with one smooth movement, Whis transported them to Universe 6. The landscape changed rapidly, and soon they were on Champa's planet, where Universe 6's god of destruction stood, and Vados stood beside him, serving him a bowl of noodles. Champa said, what is this, Beerus? What are you doing here? I was having a peaceful day and you show up to ruin it? Beerus replied, relax, brother. I didn't come here to fight. I have a proposition for you. Champa raised an eyebrow, clearly suspicious, and said, a proposal? From you? That can't be good. What do you want, Beerus? Beerus replied, I want you to join me in a fusion. Champa nearly spat out the noodles he was eating. He said, what? Fusion? Are you crazy, Beerus? Why would I do such a thing? Beerus replied, because Champa, together we will be more powerful than anyone in the multiverse. And I know there is someone you would like to challenge, but never had the courage. With this fusion, you will be able to face that person. Champa was silent for a moment, as if considering Beerus's words. He knew exactly who Beerus was talking about. Beerus replied, Champa, together we can face him. And who knows, maybe even defeat him. Champa sighed, clearly reluctant but also tempted by the idea, and said, all right, Beerus, I'll do it. But if this goes wrong, I'll destroy you. Beerus replied, it won't go wrong, brother. Now, Whis, teach us the dance steps. Whis said, with pleasure, Mr. Beerus. Watch closely. Whis began demonstrating the movements of the fusion dance with a grace and precision that only an angel could have. His steps were fluid and perfect, and he explained each movement clearly. Beerus and Champa watched attentively, although they both seemed a little reluctant to admit that they needed instruction. Whis said, now it's your turn. Remember, synchronization is essential. Don't forget that both of your ki must be equal, so move as one. Beerus replied, that's easy. Come on, Champa, let's show him how it's done. Champa replied, don't give me orders, Beerus. I know what I'm doing. The two gods stood side by side, beginning the dance. At first, it seemed like everything was going well, but it soon became clear that they were out of sync. Beerus moved to the right while Champa moved to the left, and their fingers weren't touching properly. Whis said, no, you need to move together. Synchronize your movements. Beerus replied, we're trying, Whis. Stop bothering us. Champa replied, this is your fault, Beerus. You're going too fast. Whis watched, trying not to laugh, as the two gods continued to try, unsuccessfully, to perform the dance correctly. Finally, after several failed attempts, they managed to touch their fingers, but not in the way they were supposed to. In a flash of light, the fusion was complete. However, the result was not exactly what they expected. The being that emerged from the fusion was peculiar. He was fat with a gangly appearance, and his face was a strange mix of Beerus's and Champa's features. He looked down at his hands, clearly confused. The being spoke, What happened? Why do I feel so heavy? Whis couldn't help but burst out laughing and said, oh, this is wonderful. You two are so clumsy that even the fusion went wrong. Beerus Champa replied, that's not funny, Whis. What went wrong? Whis said, well, gentlemen, it seems you didn't synchronize properly. Fusion requires perfect harmony, and well, you two aren't exactly known for working well together. Beerus Champa replied, that's ridiculous. I'm a god of destruction. I'm supposed to be powerful, not this. Champa Beerus looked down at his own body, clearly dissatisfied, and said, this is your fault, Beerus. If you had followed the steps correctly, this wouldn't have happened. Beerus Champa replied, my fault. You're the one who started the dance wrong. Whis continued to laugh, clearly enjoying the situation, and said, well, gentlemen, I guess this proves that even gods can make mistakes, but on the bright side, this will only last 30 minutes. Beerus Champa shouted, no, 30 minutes is an eternity. Guys, sorry to interrupt this epic story, but I have a message for those of you who aren't yet sponsors of the channel. Did you know that your name can appear here in the videos as a thank you? In addition, you can have access to all the exclusive photos of the channel's characters to download, and you will also have access to the advanced videos. In addition, you can choose a unique story that will be turned into a video for everyone to watch, so subscribe to my Patreon link in the comments. Well, let's get back to the story. After 30 minutes, the fusion ended and Champa and Beerus finally returned to normal. Beerus said, 30 minutes of humiliation. That was ridiculous. Champa replied, ridiculous? It was a complete disaster. We looked like idiots. Whis said, well, gentlemen, fusion is not a simple thing. It requires harmony and synchrony, something that you two, well, aren't exactly known for having. Beerus replied, harmony? Synchrony? We are gods, Whis. We don't need those things. Champa replied, he's right, Beerus. If we want to do this right, we need to focus. I won't go through that embarrassment again. Beerus looked at Champa, surprised by his brother's determination, and replied, finally you're saying something sensible. Let's try again, but this time, let's do it right. Whis spoke. This is the spirit, gentlemen. Remember, the movements must be precise, and you must touch each other perfectly at the end. Beerus and Champa stood facing each other again. This time, there was determination in their eyes. They began the fusion dance, moving with more care and attention. This time, it seemed as if they were in sync. Whis watched, impressed, and said, this is much better, gentlemen. Keep it up. Beerus and Champa continued the dance, their movements flowing with a grace they had not had before. When they reached the end, their fingers touched perfectly, and an intense glow enveloped their bodies. The bright light began to dissipate, and in the place of Beerus and Champa, there was now a single entity. He was tall, with an imposing presence, and his body radiated colossal power. His eyes glowed with an intensity that made even Whis recoil. Whis, startled, said, that's it! You did it! What should we call you? Fusion said, finally! The perfect fusion. Now let me think. It's me, Bempa. Yeah, I like that name. Whis, still in disbelief at what he was seeing, said, amazing. The power of the two of you together is indescribable. Vados, who had watched everything in silence, spoke. This is something I never thought I would see. Two gods of destruction fused into one. The power is overwhelming. Bempa looked at his hands, feeling the power flowing through him, and said, This is amazing. I can feel the power of both universes within me. Whis said, yes, Mr. Bempa, but there is a problem. Bempa replied, problem? What do you mean, Whis? Whis looked around worriedly and said, the power of the fusion is causing a distortion in space-time. Universe 6 is becoming unstable. And not only that, Universe 7 is being affected as well. Vado said, he's right. I can feel the energy waves spreading through both universes. If this continues, both universes could be destroyed. Bempa replied, destroyed? That's impossible. We are gods of destruction. We control the power, not the other way around. We said, normally, yes, Sir Bempa, but the fusion of two gods of destruction is something that has never been done before. The power is so great that it is beyond the control of either of us. Vado said, we need to do something, and fast. If we don't act, both universes will be destroyed. Whis looked at Vados, and the two angels exchanged a look of understanding. They knew what needed to be done. Whis said, Lord Bempa, we're going to use our staffs to speed up the fusion. This should reduce the impact on space-time and prevent the destruction of the universes. Bempa replied, no, don't do that. Whis was surprised and said, Lord Bempa, if we don't do something, both universes will be destroyed. We have no choice. Bempa replied, I told you not to do that. Someone is coming. Whis and Vados looked around, confused. Suddenly, a portal opened in the sky and an imposing figure appeared. It was Daishin Khan, the great priest, the most powerful being in all the universes. Daishin Khan spoke. Who was responsible for teaching the gods of destruction how to fuse? Whis immediately spoke in a low tone. It was me, Grand Priest. I apologize for my recklessness. Daishin Khan looked at Whis with a serious expression and said, you know that fusion between gods is forbidden, don't you? The power generated by such a fusion is too great for the balance of the universes. Space-time is becoming destabilized, and if this continues, both universes will be destroyed. Vado said, we were about to use our staffs to speed up the fusion and prevent destruction, Grand Priest. Daishin Khan replied, that won't be necessary. I'll handle it myself. Bempa looked at Daishin Khan, and in his mind he thought, finally he appeared. There is no denying a battle now. Bempa said, Daishin Khan, and in his mind he thought, finally he appeared. There is no denying a battle now. Bempa said, Daishin Khan, did you come here to stop us? Or have you finally accepted Champa's challenge that you never accepted? Daishin Khan looked at Bempa with a calm expression, but there was a glint of interest in his eyes and said, you are bold, Bempa, but you do not understand the danger you pose. The power of your fusion is unbalancing the universes. This cannot continue. Bempa replied, then let us settle this in the way we know best, a battle. If I win, 2 more universes will be erased and Zeno-sama will not like that. But if you win, the fusion will be undone. Daishin Khan was silent for a moment, considering the proposal. He knew that Benpa was powerful, but he also knew that he could not allow the fusion to continue. Daishin Khan said, "Very well, Benpa, I accept your challenge." Without another word, Benpa charged toward Daishin Khan, moving with incredible speed. He raised his hand, and a purple energy sphere began to form in his palm. Benpa said, "Super Hakai." The energy sphere was launched towards Daishin Khan, and the explosion that followed was colossal. Planets around were destroyed by the shockwave alone, and space-time seemed to distort from the force of the attack. Whis and Vados watched, startled. They had never seen such great power being unleashed. Whis said, "This is incredible. Benpa's power is overwhelming." Vados replied, "But is it enough to defeat Daishin Khan?" As the smoke began to clear, everyone could see the aftermath of the attack. Daishin Khan was still standing, but for the first time, he looked injured. His clothes were torn, and there was a small mark on his face. Whis and Vados were shocked. They had never seen Daishin Khan injured before. Whis said, He did it. Benpa injured Daishin Khan." Vados replied, "That's unbelievable." Benpa looked at Daishin Khan, a satisfied smile on his face, and said, "So Daishin Khan, what do you think now? Do you still think fusion is a bad idea?" Daishin Khan looked at Benpa, and with a touch his injuries disappeared. His clothes were restored, and for the first time there was a gleam of respect in his eyes. Daishin Khan said, "You are more powerful than I imagined, Benpa, but that doesn't change the fact that your fusion is putting the universe in danger." Benpa replied, "Then let's continue. I still have much more to show." Daishin Khan raised his hand, and a powerful aura began to form around him, and he said, "Very well, Benpa, let's see how far you can go." Benpa tried to resist Daishin Khan's overwhelming power, but even with all the strength of the fusion, he was unable to stay on his feet. The bright light from Daishin Khan's attack enveloped everything, and for a moment, it seemed as if universes 6 and 7 would be erased from existence. Whis and Vados were frightened, fearing that this would be the end of Beerus and Champa. When the light finally dissipated, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Beerus and Champa were separated again, lying on the ground, but alive. Daishin Khan looked at them with a serious expression, but without hostility. Daishin Khan said, "It seems that I have won another battle, huh? Champa, Beerus, you two will receive punishment for this recklessness, and do not complain, because if Zeno-sama finds out what you did, he will not hesitate to erase you both. And you, Whis, will also be punished for having taught fusion." Whis replied, "That is not fair, great priest. I only helped my lords." Beerus, still lying on the ground, looked at Whis with a tired smile. He said, "Ditch! Don't complain, Whis. It was fun while it lasted. And by the way, you were excited watching that battle, weren't you?" Whis looked at Beerus, and for the first time, his face showed a slight smile and replied, "Well, Mr. Beerus, I admit it was impressive, but maybe it's best not to repeat that." Champa, still recovering, grumbled, "I agree. I never want to go through that again." Daishin Khan sighed, opening a portal, and before leaving he said, "Learn from this. Your power has limits, and messing with the balance of the universes is not something I will tolerate again, and I await you in Zeno-sama's palace. After all, you will receive a correction that you will never forget in your lives." And so, with a last look at the gods and angels, Daishin Khan disappeared, leaving Beerus, Champa, Whis, and Vados reflecting on what had happened. The battle was over, but the lessons learned would last forever. Guys, we've reached the end of another story. Did you enjoy seeing the fusion between the gods of destruction? Do you want to see more of this here on the channel? Then leave your like and also subscribe to the channel, and of course be a sponsor. Comment link. Bye.